To order. We kind of have a skeleton crew this evening, but Mr. Etheridge will be calling in, so we will go ahead and start. So we need a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. And on to the superintendent's report. Oh, yeah, all in favor, I'm sorry. Yep.
And just for clarification, are you getting Mr. Etheridge's vote, or do we need? Okay, we just need an acknowledgement from Mr. Etheridge.
Here? Yep. Can you hear me?
Hopefully.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think
Can
there might
you
be
hear
some
me?
connectivity issue, so we'll just record that as if he's absent for this one. All right, now it's on me.
Yep.
Well, let me start by just congratulating all the staff and the leadership in the room on a year well done. Congratulations on the completion of another successful school year. Just another item of information for the board. As you all know, we have successfully transferred the property at Legacy Park over to the City of Winder. So just want to thank Mr. Perno and his team, as well as the City of Winder, for their work on that transfer, and look forward to working with the city and all of the other endeavors in the future. And then I just wanted to thank the staffs at the high school for a wonderful graduation season. We had a little bit of some newness in that we moved two of the ceremonies to Aikens Arena and had a really, really good experience. So I just want to thank Appalachia and Vassar for that, and closed out the week with graduation at Winderberry High School. Everybody did a wonderful job, and excited to see what those kids will do in the future. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. LaDuff. All right, we have presentations and discussions. We'll start with Dr. Thompson.
Good evening. We have 2 items of information and 6 action items to be voted on at the June 2nd, 2026 Board of Education meeting for the board's consideration tonight. Our first item is the April Communications Report, which Ms. Crowley has pulled up. If you review this, you'll see all kind of fun things that were happening in April, including our Teacher of the Year, where you can see photos of Mr. Griffin. I know many of you were able to come to that presentation, but you'll also see Superintendent Wood's visit, where lots of our schools were honored for their growth in academic achievement. So a lot of good things in April, as always, so that is there for the board's review. The second item of information we have is the last day of school count. As you can see there, we ended up on as of the last day with 15,100 students. That was a decrease of 1.9% from the prior year, and you can see how that all broke out. As often happens, those numbers in terms of percentage decrease from similar points last year bounced around a little, but we ended up more or less right where we were at the beginning of the year, which was about 1.7 to 1.9% decrease, which, as we've discussed, is a trend we're going to continue to monitor, and is a trend consistent with virtually every other district in the region and the state as well. So that is there for the board's perusal. I will answer any questions on those 2 items. All right, if not, I'm going to ask Dr. J.B. Bowen to come up and talk about policy JCD, student conduct.
Good evening. Regarding the revision to policy JCD, student conduct, this policy has been on the table for public review. We've not received any comments. So therefore, tonight the superintendent is recommending that we remove this policy JCD, student conduct, from the table for public review and comment, and voting to adopt the recommended revisions at the June 2nd board meeting. Are there any questions? Thank you. Dr. Darby.
We'll move to consent.
Good evening. The superintendent recommends removing the 2026-2027 Student Code of Conduct from the table of public review and comment, and voting to approve it on June 2nd meeting. Any questions?
We'll move to consent.
Thank you.
Mr. St. Clair is a little bit under the weather this evening, so filling in for him is Justin Edwards, who's going to walk the board through 3 items that we have already included in the overall budget for this upcoming year, but because they meet board threshold for purchasing, we have to pull those out separately. So, Mr. Edwards?
Hey. So the 3 items we're bringing tonight have previously already been approved by the board. This will be for renewals of these contracts. The first one will be for our Lightspeed annual renewal. So the superintendent recommends the authorization of the renewal of our Lightspeed product suite from sole source provider Howard Technology Solutions in the amount of $127,650 and authorizing future renewals with a maximum yearly cost increase of 3% over the previous year. At the July 2025 board meeting, the board approved renewal of the web content filter as well as at Lightspeed at a cost of $81,000. Costs have remained consistent with the expectations, with the only slight increase of the web filter's pricing, but we have also added 2 additional Lightspeed modules, which have only further increased the cost and necessitating further board approval. And the products we have listed there are the content filter, and we have a digital insight piece where we actually get to monitor the suite of products we use across our Chromebooks. And we also have an anonymous reporting tool for bullying and other things that we're utilizing. Lightspeed continues to be a solid product for the district with excellent support. Lightspeed is sold by sole source provider Howard Technologies, and they are not adversely listed in the SAM.gov database. The financial impact will be at $127,650 out of the ITS budget, with a yearly maximum increase of 3% from the previous year.
Any
That's all.
questions? All right, move to consent.
All right, the next one up is our low voltage data cabling. The superintendent recommends authorization of the use of low bid respondents Tech Optics, Electrical Contractors Incorporated, and Ideal Communications for miscellaneous low voltage cabling during the 2026-2027 school year. And for renewal of the authorization upon the agreement of all parties in the 2027-2028 and 2028 and 2029 fiscal years for a maximum amount of $150,000 per year. Into addition to major projects that we do throughout the school year, this would be for low voltage, just cabling we do for data drops, ads, miscellaneous work we do. An RFP was posted for a fixed rate for this work. 5 vendors responded. The responses were evaluated by a weighted cost matrix as shown below in the form here. One network drop cost weighed the heaviest at 33% of the total evaluation, dual drops at 15%, et cetera. And a final weighted score was calculated for each vendor. Most miscellaneous cabling jobs are for 1 to 2 data drops, and those are weighted the heaviest, with the subsequent less frequent jobs weighted less as far shown. Based on the weighted comparison, Tech Optics ranked first, followed by Electrical Contractors Incorporated, and then second, Ideal Communication was third. We are seeking approval to use the top 3 lowest cost vendors during the school year, and for each job, we'll choose the vendor that would be the lowest cost for the specific jobs. For instance, for a single drop, Tech Optics will be the selected vendor. For dual drop, ECI will be the selected vendor, and so on. For a job that is primarily just labor, such as installing security cameras and the district would purchase separately, we would seek time estimates from all 3 vendors and select the vendor whose established hourly rates and times, the number of hours, quote, give us the best price, and so on. If the cost of the vendor is not available, if the low-cost vendor is not available for work in the time frame required for the job, the next lowest vendor will be used. None of the 3 vendors are adversely listed in the SAM.gov database, and all 3 have done similar work for the district before. So the financial impact will be pricing as shown in the responses from various budgets as a need arise for a maximum amount of $150,000 per year.
Any questions? All right, move to consent.
Thank you. Next up is our Infinite Campus Student Information System renewal. The superintendent recommends authorization of the renewal of Infinite Campus software and associated modules from sole source providers Infinite Campus and their Georgia partners, K-12 Solutions, in the amount of $280,000 and authorizing future renewals with a maximum yearly cost increase of 3% over the previous years. This was previously approved at the June 2023 board meeting. The board approved the annual renewal of the SIS Infinite Campus Suite at a starting price of $229,611.20 with a 3% maximum year cost increase. Our upcoming renewal will exceed that, and so we are bringing this back to the board for authorization. Costs have maintained consistent with the expectations, but we have added several additional services to our Infinite Campus implementation, increasing the annual renewal since the 2023 approval. And the new functions are there listed below. Infinite Campus continues to be a solid product with excellent support that is used by numerous school districts in the state of Georgia. We're extremely satisfied with the product and the company. Infinite Campus is sold by sole source providers, Infinite Campus and Georgia partner K-12 Solutions. They are not adversely listed in the SAM.gov database. The financial impact will be $280,000 out of the Student Information System budget with a maximum yearly increase of 3% over the previous year.
All right. Any questions? Okay. Move to
Thank you.
consent.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Last item on the board's table for consideration from my department is the Foothills Regional High School Collaborative Operating Agreement for the school year 2026 to 2027. Foothills Regional High School is a Georgia completion school. Most of you are familiar with it. They operate out of two of our sites at Sims Academy and Russell Middle School, but they also have sites all across Northeast Georgia, and they cover a very wide enrollment zone, and they provide completion services to students who need something after hours or non-traditional or a different type of virtual environment. You have the collaborative agreement that Foothills has worked up. We've reviewed it. We've taken it through the proper legal channels, and I'll point out a few changes since the last time the board reviewed or signed this. We still have language in there about residential enrollment students. That was the program students that remained enrolled at Appalachia or Winder, but they were receiving their services, and we were taking their funding and transferring that to Foothills. Foothills has more or less moved away from that model now. At one point in the 2024 school year, we had well over 300 students that were receiving services. By the end of this school year, we were down to 18, and we don't anticipate any of those students being residential models or program models going forward. Students will just enroll with Foothills directly in this case, but we did leave the language in for rare cases where we may need to set something like that up. The other parts of the agreement typically look at the facility usage parameters, and you will notice that as part of this, we are a Tier 3 operator, which means both of our sites get $150,000 annually from Foothills for operational costs and $10,000 each for networking and networking support as well. So Foothills pays us for the services to use their facilities. The only other changes in there was a piece of legislation, HB 907, that passed this last session. One of the things it does is it puts more responsibilities on the local school district to inform Foothills when students drop out. And so we are working on a procedure where we will send them regular reports of students that leave us as dropouts, so they will be able to contact those students. And so that's really the only major change from last year. It's just the language from HB 907 about the responsibilities we have to make Foothills aware when a student has dropped out, that they can then reach out to them and see if Foothills might be the best fit for them as a dropout recovery model. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. If the board does not have any, the superintendent would request that the board chair sign on behalf of the board at the next board meeting so that we can continue our relationship with Foothills Regional High School. But I'll answer any questions.
Any questions?
All right, I have some
All good?
questions.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me?
Thank you very much.
Nope. Okay.
All right, next we have our CFO, Ms. Jennifer Houston.
Thank you. We have 3 action items tonight, and the first one is our student meal prices. And Ms. Trunk is going to come up and walk us through that.
Good evening, y'all. Okay, so this evening, the superintendent recommends adjusting student meal prices for the upcoming school year to ensure the financial sustainability of our school nutrition program. And here's our mission. Our commitment to Barrow County students is to serve nutritious meals in safe and welcoming cafeterias with affordable access for families and support for student achievement while having financial responsible operations. So why is an increase needed? Food prices have increased significantly over the past few years. Our cost per meal has gone up across all categories. Protein, dairy, and produce, staffing and wages and benefits have increased. Equipment, supplies, and utilities are more expensive. While federal reimbursements has increased slightly, it has not kept pace with the actual cost of producing a meal. We are currently spending more to produce meals than we are bringing in, especially on paid meals. This creates a gap that puts pressure on our overall program budget. School nutrition programs are required to be self-supporting. Without an increase, we risk long-term financial instability. Our goal is to maintain high-quality, appealing meals while avoiding reductions in service or staffing. And then our proposed price increases here. These increases are modest and necessary to help offset rising costs while remaining reasonable for families. It's important to note that students who qualify for free and reduced meals will see no impact. We will continue encouraging families to apply for meal benefits. And then on the next slide, you'll see lunch price comparison with our neighbors. Even with this increase, our meals remain comparable to or lower than our neighboring districts. Our program operates under strict federal guidelines set by the USDA. These guidelines require us to meet specific nutrition standards for every meal we serve, including portion sizes, calories, sodium limits, and food components like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Because of these requirements, we don't have the flexibility to reduce sizes or lower the quality of meals that meet these standards every day. While we are always mindful of managing our budget efficiently, these regulations ensure that students receive the nutrition they need, but they also limit our ability to offset rising costs through reductions. In short, unlike other operations, we can't simply adjust portion sizes or substitute lower cost options if they don't meet USDA requirements. Our focus has to remain on both compliance and student nutrition. So some steps we've already taken. We've taken multiple steps to control cost before recommending a price increase. We've adjusted our menus. We're working on ways to increase participation, reducing waste, and managing staffing as efficiently as possible. And so this adjustment allows us to continue serving nutritious meals, support our staff, and maintain strong program for our students moving forward. So do I have any questions?
Yeah. What percentage of our students that are not on free and reduced lunch are taking meals?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
What percentage of our students that are not on free and reduced lunch are taking our meals? Do we know?
What percentage are free and reduced?
No, what percentage are not?
Or not?
Are taking our lunches?
It would be 38%. So we're 62% free and reduced right now.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I just have one question, and so I just thought of this. When was the last time, if any, that we increased?
We did it, I think 3 years ago. I believe it was 3 or 4 years ago, and we only went up a quarter, and that was the first time we had done it.
That's 2015.
So yeah, since 2015.
Okay, thank you.
I will say, like, knowing how much food has gone up since 2019, 2020, it's impressive that we've made it this far, but the real concern, and many of us know, there's still a lot of students, whether they're on free and reduced or not, who run up tabs and then might not be served meals, and I'm concerned about that, and maybe at a later date, if we could see relevant of this, maybe some of the data on those students maybe this past year that had consistent balances, I think that might be helpful too.
Okay.
If nothing else, to be an ambassador to help promote the free and reduced lunch form, but just again, having concern for those kids and not having access once they do have an account balance.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Move it to consent.
All right, the next item is our other funds budget. And last month, we went over the general fund, and in that fund, we detailed it, and the board approved a tentative budget. Now we're going to go over the other funds budget for the 2027 year. We have different buckets of money. Oh, no. Okay. We have different buckets of money, and of course, we talked about the general fund. We have federal funds that are for specific, they have specific grant requirements in them. We also have school food nutrition, just like we talked about, and that's for our school cafeterias, equipment, supplies, and labors, and those funds come from meal prices and also the USDA federal funds. And then we have our ESPLOS funds, and that's our 1 penny sales tax and bond funds, and it's spent on capital expenditures for school buses, building renovations, and new schools and facilities and technology. So here's a list of all of our other funds, and I'll go through each one of them as quickly as possible. So please stop me if you have any questions along the way. So our first one, as I talked about, was our capital projects funds. This is our 1 penny sales tax that we can pay for facilities, transportation, bus costs, technology, and some instructional textbooks. The revenues are our ELOS proceeds, interest revenues, and GSFIC state reimbursements. Our expenditures are for buildings, renovations, salaries, buses, and technology. And the salaries are only for 3 individuals that are specific to facilities. So our capital projects fund balance fluctuates because we receive approval from their taxpayers, and we get bond proceeds to renovate schools or even build a new school. So in 1 year, we may have about $40 million in revenue, but that revenue is spent over the next 3 or 4 years to fund a renovation or a special project. So our capital projects fund for fiscal year 2027, we're going to receive, we anticipate receiving $21.8 million from our ELOS funds and $2.3 million in state reimbursement and about $900,000 for interest. So we are looking to receive $24,953,000. And we will spend those funds on athletic facilities, a $7.4 million investment there. And this is what we are projecting to spend next year. It's not the cost of the entire project. Heyman Morris Middle School renovation, $2.3 million. $2.9 million, Winder Bear High School renovation, $2.7 million, Bear Creek Middle School renovations, $918,000, buses and transportation, $1,823,000, maintenance projects, $2 million, IT projects, $5,429,000, furniture replacement, $336,000, personnel, $572,000, audit and administration fees, $28,000, debt service, $942,000, and transfers over to our debt service to cover our bond payment, $14 million. So total expenditures of $39,254,000. We're going to move on to our debt service fund, and this is used to account for the payment of general long-term debt. Our current debt is $164,785,000. We get the transfers in from the capital project funds, which accounts for our sales tax proceeds, and our expenditures are principal and interest. So we are going to transfer in $14 million from our capital projects funds and hopefully get interest of about $400,000. And we're going to pay our debt service off for next year of $14 million. For our federal funds, these will be allocated in June. These are all reimbursable or grant funds, so we pay for the expenditures and then we request reimbursement. Projected expenditures and revenues are based on fiscal year 2026 actuals because we're not really sure how much money we will be receiving. And we're budgeting $8 million in federal revenues, but it does not include school food nutrition federal funds of approximately $11.3 million. So Title I, II, and IV, they provide the opportunity for at-risk and disadvantaged children to acquire the knowledge and skills. We receive federal funds in the following areas. Title I-A is improving academic achievement of the disadvantaged. Title I-A is also school improvement. Title I-C is support migrant education. Title II is professional learning. Title IV-A is student support in academics enrichment. The expenditures are para-support, instructional coaches, technology, family engagement, instructional materials, admin, salaries, and tutoring. And we're also transferring over to consolidated funds. So we're going to receive for just Title I about $3.6 million. For Title II, it's to improve teacher quality, and we transfer all of these funds over to our consolidated funds for use. We're going to receive $546,000 for Title II. Title III is language instruction for English learners. Our expenditures are salaries, teacher stipends, professional learning, subscriptions, translation, supplies, and equipment. And we're going to receive $213,000, we anticipate. Title IV-A is student support and academic enrichment. We provide all students with access to well-rounded education, improve school conditions for student learning, and improve the use of technology in order to improve the academic achievement and digital literacy of all students. And this is spent on specific initiatives, student mental health, and fine arts support. So we'll receive we anticipate $177,000 for this grant. Title IX, Part A is education of our homeless children. We spend it on after-school tutoring programs, credit recovery, transportation, school supplies, hygiene items, and emergency clothing. We anticipate receiving $53,000 for this grant. For special education, of course, this covers our individuals with disabilities. Our expenditures are para-support, support staff, parent mentors, shared services through RESA, nursing support, administration, equipment, and instructional supplies, a variety of learning platforms, interventions, and curricula to support specially designed instruction for students with disabilities. And we anticipate receiving $3.2 million. For vocational education, this is also known as our Career Technical Agricultural Education, or CTAE, looks for new and innovative ways to prepare our students for college and career success with a choice of 30 different career pathways and 15 career clusters. Students can earn credentials and college credit in almost any career area of interest. And our expenditures are equipment and registrations for conferences and events. So we'll receive hopefully $161,000 for these grants. Our junior ROTC serves as a character and leadership development program for our high school students. Retired Army instructors lead the program. Our revenues are funded through the Department of Defense for approximately 30% of the salaries and benefits of our instructors, and the rest is covered by transfers from the general fund. So we anticipate $184,000 from the Department of Defense and transferring over $440,000 from the general fund. Project Aware it increases awareness of mental health issues among school-aged youth, provide training for school personnel and other adults who interact with school-aged youth to detect and respond to mental health issues, and connect school-aged youth who may have behavioral issues, health issues, and their families to needed services. The expenditures are salaries and benefits and contracts with mental health providers, and we anticipate receiving $420,000 for this grant. Our emergency assistant grant helps victims build adaptive capacities, decrease stressors, and reduce symptoms of trauma immediately following an incident. So we are budgeting $113,000, and our expenditures are for reimbursement for recovery coordinator, additional substitute teachers, and additional mental health support for our students and staff. Again, we think we're going to receive $113,000 for this grant. Our GNETS is the Georgia Network for Education and Therapeutic Supports, is a service available within the continuum of supports for school systems to consider when determining the least restrictive environment for students with disabilities. And our revenues are funded, a portion is funded through RESA, but we also receive funds from Jefferson City Schools, Oconee County Schools, and Social Circle City Schools. And we also transfer funds from the general fund, and it covers salaries and benefits. So we think we're going to receive $574,000 from the other districts and RESA, and then we'll have to transfer $195,000 from the general fund. Our pre-K program is Georgia's lottery-funded educational program for our 4-year-olds, and the revenues are state lottery funds and transfers from the general fund. And it covers salaries and benefits for teachers and parapros, equipment, materials, and supplies, and administrative salaries. So we think we're going to receive $3 million from state funds and $175,000 transferred over from the general fund. Our last fund is the School Food Nutrition Fund, and as Nicole said, is our mission to promote a successful academic experience and encourage a lifetime of healthy eating. Our revenues are federal funds and sale of meals. Our expenditures are salaries and benefits, food purchases, and supplies and equipment. So we're looking at receiving $11.3 million from federal funds, state reimbursement of $350,000, student and adult sales $2.3 million, and interest $200,000. So we believe our costs are going to be $14,238,000. So this is a summary of what we just went through. Our special revenues funds budget, $27,497,841. Our capital projects budget, $39,254,775. And our debt service budget, $14,114,459, for a total of $80,867,074 for our other funds budgets. So we will vote on the tentative budget, all other funds, next week, June 2nd, and we're going to have 2 public hearings. One is going to be at 5 p.m. on June 2nd, and the other one is going to be on June 15th at 6 p.m. And then if all goes well, we'll vote on approval of the final budgets on June 23rd. Any questions?
Ms. Houston, I just have one, and certainly at a later date. I would imagine when we receive, especially federal funds, that there's certain stipulations and requirements in order to do that. At a later date, I would just really like to see what all of those are. I think the board would, especially like to see those requirements, because I think it would be quite eye-opening what we have to do in order to receive those funds.
Okay,
Right?
sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? All right, move to consent.
All right, now we're going to go over the millage rate for next year. And this is my favorite presentation, but it is very, very long. And I just can't stop, but y'all need to tell me if it's way too much, and I'll lessen it in the future. But we are just going to move on through it, and if y'all have any questions, just let me know. All right. Property taxes account for approximately 31 to 32% of the district's general fund revenues. All real property and all personal property are taxable unless the property has been exempted by law. Real property is land and generally anything that is erected or affixed to the land. Personal property is everything that can be owned that is not real estate, such as boats and airplanes, business machinery and equipment, business inventory. There are still a few vehicles that are older that are still on the birthday tax, so that is in this tax digest. And the contents of your household are normally not taxable unless they are used in a home-based business. The tax digest is the official list of each taxpayer's subject to the property taxes together with the assessment and the amount of taxes. So it's prepared by our wonderful tax commissioner based on information obtained by the tax assessor. Assessed values is defined as being 40% of the fair market value. The tax rate or millage rate for Barrow County School System is set annually by the Board of Education, and that is what we are here to do tonight. A tax rate of 1 mil represents a tax liability of $1 per 1,000 of assessed value. The school system's millage rate was 15.193 last year, and 1 mil equaled $4.4 million. I love doing this presentation each year because we research house values in Barrow. Per the U.S. Census for the 2024, a median house value was $294,700, and that produced $1,760 in school tax. However, the census is a few years behind, and so if we look at the Zillow, it shows a median house value at $346,652 for March of 2026. And school taxes on that home would be $2,076 using last year's millage rate. Both the U.S. Census and Zillow are not a precise measurement of house values. However, we can use these tools to compare us with surrounding counties. And when we do that, Barrow and Clark are basically tied for the biggest bang for your buck, followed by Walton, Jackson, Hall, Gwinnett, and Oconee. While this is not an exact scientific measurement, it can still provide a helpful illustration if we estimate that each home in Barrow County represents approximately 1/2 of a student, and the cost to educate one student in fiscal year 2025 was $14,592, then the break-even point for a home to generate enough property tax revenue to cover that educational cost would be approximately $375,000 home at the current millage rate of 15.193. For that reason, we generally view homes valued at $375,000 or higher as covering the cost of education through property taxes. So we like to see when the county approves homes that they are $375,000 or more homes. I have a couple more historic charts that show the growth in the tax digest over the years. This is new homes reevaluated homes, but also it includes exemptions, including our 2025 age-based tax exemption. As our values increase, the more homes have been added to the digest. Our student numbers have increased by 3,338 from 2007 to 2026. Special education students have increased by 738. From 2010 to 2026, gifted has increased by 482, and English learners by 366. This graph illustrates the fluctuations in the tax digest over time and serves as a reminder that property values can be reevaluated and in some cases decline. Because of that possibility, it is important that we remain financially prepared. Even if the tax digest decreases, the district would still be responsible for educating the same number of students at the same cost. As a result, we must continue to budget as leanly and responsibly as possible, while also being prepared to rely on fund balance reserves or consider an increase in the millage rate if necessary. This is a copy of the tax commissioner's information she gave me on Friday of how we are going to arrive at a responsible millage rate. So what happened from May of 2025 to May of 2026 in the tax digest world? The tax assessor reassessed property that was already on the digest for a net increase of $274,544,144. New real property, so this is construction, increased by $307,157,348. This is equivalent to 2,200 homes at $350,000, but there were commercial buildings and other items that were included in this number. I just threw out, like, if I divided it by 350, what would happen? You know, or it's really 140 because it's the 40% rate, but that's neither here nor there. Personal property, mostly business furniture, machinery, and inventory, increased by $44.3 million. Automobiles, still on the birthday tax, decreased by $2.9 million, and that will continue to decrease as those cars are no longer usable. Exemptions increased by $124,262,000. The net tax digest increased by 10.9%, and that was $499,650,000, or $7.6 million if you use the 15.193 millage rate. This information is super exciting to see. The tax assessor received commercial, industrial, and agriculture updated cost schedules. So a big portion of the tax digest increase was commercial and industrial, which is welcomed for our residential taxpayers and lessens their burden. 26.2% of the tax digest is commercial and industrial, which is up from last year's 24.9%. This is always a great opportunity to see how our tax digest and taxes per pupil compare to our neighbors. This is our residential tax digest compared to our neighbors. This is for 2025, fiscal year 2025, or last year. So this is our residential tax digest. With most of these slides, Gwinnett is too large to show, so it will be on the side notes there. Here's our industrial and commercial, and where Barrow compares in the middle. However, Clark, Hall, and Gwinnett have a significant portion of their industrial and commercial properties, so they have a lot more industrial and commercial than we do. This is our total tax digest compared to our neighbors. And then I like for everyone to see where Barrow County ranks in millage rates compared to many of our neighboring counties. I believe our realtors do a great job highlighting for new residents that Barrow County's taxes are relatively low compared to surrounding areas. This is especially important for families relocating from Gwinnett County to understand. While some homeowners may pay more in total school taxes after moving here, that is often due to purchasing a higher value home, not because Barrow County has a higher millage rate. In fact, Gwinnett County Schools millage rate is higher at 20.15 mils. Ultimately, the total tax amount is influenced by both the millage rate and the value of the home, making it a personal housing choice. Here's more millage rate values compared to districts that are near us and that are similar to us. Only Loudon's, Elbert, Banks, and Oconee are below our school millage rate. For actual taxes, we brought in in 2025, this is the chart that represents that amount of money. And then here is our student count. Again, Gwinnett is off the chart with 196,000 FTE, but this is our student numbers compared to our surrounding counties. So when you divide the number of students by how much we receive in property taxes, we come in under all surrounding districts. You can interpret this many ways, but I like to always say we do a lot with a little. This gets into the deep weeds, and it looks at the yearly increases in the tax digest for each of these counties. So yes, we have had significant increases, but everyone surrounding us also had some significant increases. This presents the movement in the tax digest year over year since 2016. The red highlighted bar shows the reassessments every year and the new property added to our tax digest each year. It's also good to note that 3 lines from the bottom, I didn't highlight it, but the increase in exemptions, that is the result of the board's decision to exempt our seniors who meet income and age qualifications. That is $224 million in new exemptions, and most are the age-based tax exemptions. So thank you to the Board of Education for that gift to our seniors. As you saw earlier, the tax assessor reevaluates property values each year. While that may not always make him the most popular person in the county, he is doing exactly what his job requires. Each year, the Department of Audits reviews the county's assessments by comparing recent property sales to the values assigned by the tax assessor. The goal is for the assessed values to be as close as possible to 40% of the fair market value. For 2024, the most recent audit showed Barrow County at 37.17%, which is a strong result. If the county were to fall below 36% for 3 consecutive years, there could be significant consequences, including a penalty of $5 per parcel and the potential loss of state funding. The assessment ratio also impacts our local 5 mil share. calculation, the lower the assessed value ratio, the more funding the state assumes we are not collecting locally through property taxes, which can negatively affect our funding allocations. If values fall too low, the state can require a full countywide reevaluation to bring assessments back into compliance. Overall, our tax assessor is doing his job well, as reflected in the county's current assessment ratio of 37.17. These are our current exemptions. Homestead exemption is $2,000. For our fabulous senior exemptions, if you are 62 on December 31st and income from Social Security retirement is under $99,648 and all other income under $60,000, you receive a $140,000 exemption, which exempts a $350,000 value on your home. Once you reach 70, your income from Social Security retirement is under $99,643, and all other income under $113,000. You are exempt from all school taxes for a home and 5 acres. For both of our senior exemptions, your home value will be frozen on the year you were eligible. And other exemptions are always available for veterans, conservation, income in the poverty level, etc. So please check with your tax assessor's office to see what you may be eligible for. And this is how much our seniors have taken advantage of this exemption. In 2024, before the exemption, we had 8,565 seniors qualify for our old exemptions, which exempted $305.8 million in home values. And now we are at 9,608 parcels with an exempt value of $579.4 million, or $8.8 million in taxes. So at 15.193 mils, the increase from 2024 is $4.2 million in senior tax exemptions for the past 2 years. This is the history of our school property tax millage rate. This shows us as our needs change and the tax digest change, the board is committed to adjusting the millage rate by using their local control and to only cover what is needed. We approved a budget of $236.4 million, and these are the revenues we need to cover that budget. We decided to cover the budget with $225.4 million in revenues, which leaves a deficit of $11 million that we will cover with our fund balance. Included in those revenues is state funding. We were very excited to learn that state funding, once released 2 weeks ago, was $2 million more than originally announced. So that right there helped us out a $0.5 million that we could reduce our property taxes by. So bottom line, we need to cover $74,930,729 with property taxes. Now let's quickly go over the $236.4 million budget. The school system was able to reduce expenditures by $12.4 million from the previous year through a combination of measures, including the reduction of 67.9 positions and a 10% reduction in operational expenses. At the same time, we still had to absorb increases in healthcare costs and TRS pension contributions. We also experienced an $802,000 increase in school security officer expenses, with those costs projected to be $1.9 million in 2027. Included within this budget is a $15 million investment in employee compensation, primarily focused on teachers. This investment goes directly into the classroom to support instruction, retain quality educators, and promote student learning. So now we're at the decision. So these are all the different millage rates that we've been able to calculate. Our rollback rate is set at 14.426, but if we set our millage rate at 15.55, and remember we had originally discussed having to set our millage rate at 16.99, so this is a blessing right here, 15.55, we will receive $74,933,000 in taxes. That's $3,000 more than what we budgeted for. And that would leave our fund balance, used to fund balance, at $11 million. Our advertised tax increase is going to be 7.79%. So obviously, we're going to have to hold 3 public hearings and listen to what our community has to say. And then taxes on a $350,000 home at 15.55 is approximately $2,146. And an increase from the rollback rate would be $155 a year, but that's from the rollback rate. If we calculated it from our millage rate for this year, 15.193, it was only $46 a year. And so you can look at the different millage rates. If you want to reduce our reliance on fund balance, we could possibly go down to 16.25, and that would reduce our use of fund balance by $7 million, or only use $7,631,000. So that would relieve us of a $3,376,000, just if you want to. And then if we wanted to actually break even and not use any fund balance, that would be a 17.78 millage rate, and I don't think any of us have the capacity for that. I do want you to look forward before you make a final decision. House Bill 581 or Senate Bill 33 will go into effect next year. An estimated amount is that it will cost the district $2.5 million next year. We are using fund balance for $4.4 million of our operation cost, but we feel like we can absorb that with additional cuts for 2028. And then we are funding $6.6 million of our salary study, which is a reoccurring cost of fund balance, and we will not be able to do that every year. However, we hope that the tax digest will continue to grow and the county gets some more commercial and industrial properties inside Barrow that will help. But we will not be able to continue to use fund balance too much longer, and we have to reduce our expenses and look at the millage rate every year. And then once you decide on the millage rate, approve a tentative millage rate next week, we will have our first millage rate public hearing on June 18th at 10 a.m., our second millage rate public hearing on June 18th at 11 a.m., on June 25th at 6 p.m., we'll have our third millage rate, and then you will get all that information from the community and make your final decision on July 7th at 6 p.m. All right, what kind of questions do y'all have?
I love the lengthy presentation, so thank you. It's very informative.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hendricks.
I have a question. Going through this for all these years, I do have a new set of eyes looking at it for obvious reasons. But when you're talking about the tax assessor being behind, do we know how far he's behind? Like,
I don't think I said he was behind. When did I say? Did I?
We on top of it, I mean, at one point he was behind, not right on top,
Oh, you mean like the sales tax ratio?
Yeah.
It's so hard to hit that.
On property taxes, when he goes out and looks at our property and values it every year.
Reassesses them?
Reassesses them.
Yes.
Do we know
How often he does that?
Yeah.
He has to do it every 3 years, for sure. And that 37.17 is, it has to be close. We want it as close as we can to 40. And you can see the history there. There were some times when those property values were increasing so fast, he couldn't reassess them fast enough.
Right.
So we just hope that number gets closer and closer to 40.
Okay. And my other question is, because I can see it twofold, if we're not catching up on those. And we're going off of that to find out what we should have insurance-wise on our homes.
Mm-hmm.
That could hurt. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to pay the extra school taxes and taxes. And we say, oh, they have our property valued less than what it really is. But if you're not insuring your home for what it's really valued at, and you have a catastrophe like a fire or a tornado or whatever hits, then you're going to be in trouble.
That's a great point, Ms. Kelly. Yes.
Am I correct? Okay, that's what I'm looking at these now and looking, because I know in the past, we've been in that house 38 years, in the past, if they didn't have it, Clay and I would say, they don't have it, we're going to keep our mouth shut, we're not appealing anything.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at it with fresh eyes going, you know what? I'd rather him go on and raise me up, hear me pay a little bit more on this end, so I know what I should have my insurance at. And we know from approving, John St. Clair and all these other things, inflation has really hit us. And we've had to budget and look into things, and everything's going up. So if you have a catastrophe or something happen, it's gonna hit you on the rebuild, it's gonna hit you on everything else that you have to put into there. I'd much rather have paid the taxes up front and know what it really is valued at than sit there and laugh and say, oh, they lowballed me this year.
Yes, ma'am.
So I mean, that's how I'm looking at it, from a new set of eyes, from
Yeah.
a different view. And I just wanted to make sure that we are now catching back up, because at one point, they were so far behind.
There was yeah.
And then they were coming up and having to double up and catch up on people.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to find out. Are we now somewhat caught up?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. I think he does a great job for us. Mm-hmm.
I have a question. If we go with a 15.5 and we use that amount of our fund balance, what do we have remained for our, our cushion for us? How many months will we have still?
So if we do assign a portion of our fund balance for capital projects, literacy, and security, but after that, we would have 2.76 months available
Okay,
if we use the full 11 million.
thanks.
And so we should, just a couple of questions. I believe we're required to have 2 more with 3 months.
It just changed to, it's not required, it's a highly recommended 3 months. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
3 months in reserves.
Now, can we go back to the millage rate table? So
Oops,
it's
sorry.
not, so I'm looking at, we said 15.5, but you've got 15.55.
I apologize, 15.55.
Okay, I know, I just wanted, because I was kind of doing some math, and I will certainly follow up with you later. So if so looking at the 15.55, so that is a difference of 0.357 from prior year, okay? So 1 mill's 4.4, correct?
1 million is about last year it was 4.4, yes.
So could, yeah, and I know there's a slight variation. What I'm looking at then is, that is a difference of 0.357 times 4.4. Okay, so I'm trying to find that third of that, what the 1 mil would be. And so it looks like 1.57 million. And I'll follow up with you later. That's not a significant difference at all, is my point.
From last year to this year, yes, agreed.
And remind me, our increase in security?
We have an $800,000 increase in security for a total of $1.9 million that we will pay to the Barrow County commissioners next year for school security officers.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Is that GSBA that requires 3 months, or is that who's suggesting that?
Actually, the legislators voted it through on this Senate Bill 33 this year. They actually increased it to an allowable amount. So if you go over that amount, you get questioned. And so who recommended that is, I think it's GFOA, which is Government Finance Officers Association. I think they're the ones who recommended 2 to 3 months, and now they're recommending 3 months.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? So do we move that to consent, or do we need to pull that out for a separate item? Move to consent?
I think so.
Okay, okay. All right.
Consent for 15.55.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Dr. Brown, our Chief Academic Officer.
Good evening. The Chief Academic Office Board of Education report contains 1 item of information and 5 action items for the June 2nd, 2026 Board of Education meeting. Our first item celebrates the great work of our high schools as they were recently awarded with AP Honor School distinctions from the Georgia Department of Education based on data from the May 2025 Advanced Placement Exams. So Appalachia High School was named an AP Access and Support School and an AP STEM School. Barrow Arts and Sciences Academy was named an AP School of Distinction, an AP STEM School, and an AP STEM Achievement School. And Winder-Barrow High School was named an AP Humanities School, AP Humanities Achievement School, AP STEM School, and AP STEM Achievement School. So we're excited to get to celebrate them. Okay, the first action item is in regards to continuing the purchase of the Northwest Evaluation Association Measures of Academic Progress, or the NWEA MAP test. You guys hear about the MAP test. MAP growth is an assessment used 3 times per school year for measuring achievement and growth in K-12 math, reading, and language usage. MAP data allows schools to differentiate and adjust instruction for individual students or entire classes based on the results of the assessment. The superintendent recommends authorizing the renewal of NWEA MAP growth, the assessment license for the 26-27 school year. This was already included in the overall budget, but does exceed that threshold for approval. And the total financial impact for the district would be $160,500 from the general fund.
Any questions? Okay.
Okay. The second action item is to continue the purchase of Formative by News ELA, which is a web-based learning tool that allows teachers to monitor and assess student learning. So our Barrow County School System Common Assessments for grades 6 through 12 are already created and administered to students within the Formative platform. So teachers and administrators analyze student mastery of standards using the data within Formative and then plan next steps for instruction. As elementary schools have begun work to better align HMH assessments to the Georgia standards, elementary common module assessments will also transition to the Formative platform during the 26-27 school year. So it allows us to update and edit those assessments based on Georgia standards, and then teachers are able to analyze that data. The total expenditure of $105,000 for News ELA with that Formative platform would be paid through general funds, but the elementary portion of $30,000 would be funded from the HMH WAGGL refund. So as a note, BCSS sought out a refund for a digital learning tool that is through HMH that our schools were using called HMH WAGGL. And we did receive that refund and are excited to be able to replace the product with other products that we think will better meet our needs. And so we'll see that with this tool and then a couple more that I'll describe in a moment.
I would like to say thank you for taking the effort to get that refund for us and find a product that will better meet the needs of our students and teachers.
Excited. Excited about that and had lots of support with our administrators and our tech department and making sure that they understood our concerns and were able to move forward with that.
Okay, we'll move that to consent, looks like.
Okay, our third action item is to continue with the purchase of iExcel Learning, which is a digital learning tool that allows for both teacher-assigned practice on specific standards and adaptive practice individualized by a student's skill level. Our school leaders have worked hard this year to increase alignment with the curriculum resources and learning tools that we are utilizing, and all schools would like to move forward with iExcel in some capacity as a tool for students and teachers. The total expenditure of $163,768.75 would be paid from consolidated funds, media funds, and local funds. It depends on the school. And then the elementary portion, which would include iExcel Math, would be funded from that WAGGL refund. Okay. All right.
Any questions? Okay, let's move on. Consent, move to consent.
Our next action item calls for the purchase of Lexia Core 5 Reading. As BCSS we've already talked about the WAGL refund, and so the Lexia Core 5 Reading, it is a digital learning tool that aligns with the foundational reading and advanced literacy skills with the Georgia ELA standards. There's adaptive personalized learning paths that allows Lexia to help our teachers to target student needs. And with Lexia, there is both the digital component that students are completing, but then there is also a hands-on component that's facilitated by the teachers. So teachers will use that data, and then they have materials that they'll be able to use to pull small groups. The total expenditure of $329,500 would be funded from the HMH WAGL refund. The superintendent recommends authorizing the purchase of the Lexia Core 5 Reading for grades K through 5 for a 3-year contract.
All right, no questions? Okay, move to
Okay.
consent.
All right. And for our final action item, I would like to bring forward Jill Rodabaugh for our final item.
Good afternoon, or I guess evening, everybody. It's been a long day. So our next action item is having to deal with the contract companies. So we've partnered with several contract companies over the years as an additional way to meet the needs of students due to staffing shortages. Maintaining these contracts provides additional options for securing qualified teachers, parapros, speech-language pathologists, psychologists, nurses, and behavior techs to support the needs of our students. The financial impact of this, the general fund budget includes funds to cover all of these contract positions with the exception of the nurses and the registered behavior technicians. Medicaid reimbursement funds from Medicaid billing would be used to cover the nursing and the RBT funds through RBTs through the IDEA grant. So we are looking for positions for SLPs, psychologists, special ed teachers, parapros, nurses, and a behavior technician. The superintendent recommends that the Bexar County School System enter a contract with Emergis, Ideal Hire, Salient Health, and the Stepping Stones Group to provide special education evaluations and services to our students with disabilities for up to $2,486,390 per year.
All right, any questions? Okay, move to consent.
This concludes our report. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Perno is going to do our Chief of Staff report. Somebody's on vacation.
Well, good evening. For our Chief of Staff report tonight, we have 2 items of information and 3 action items for the June 2nd, 2026 Board of Education meeting. And I'll speak to one of the information items and one of the action items. And then we'll have Ms. Megan McNally and Ms. Kelsey Zimmer will speak on the other information item and the remaining 2 action items. And so we'll start with the first item of information. And this is an update to our System Athletic Improvement Project. And we've got some photos there that are churning through. Maybe you'll see them. But I first want to thank again, our schools, particularly our principals, athletic directors, and coaches. They helped pave the way for us to get in and start on these athletic improvement projects before the school year concluded, and that was very helpful to us. One of the things we're most concerned or anxious about is the condition of the asphalt below the track surfaces, and so we wanted to get that removed as quickly as possible. We were able to do that, and the asphalt is in good condition overall. When the surface was replaced years ago, to pull that off, it had to be milled. And so in some of those pictures, or you noticed it the other night, I'm sure when you walked across it, there were grooves in it. And so we're going to have to fill those grooves with additional track material. So there is some remediation work there, but I think all in all, the news is good when it comes to that asphalt surface. The other pictures that you're seeing there is, the additional work that's being done. In addition to that track removal of landscape, existing fencing and replacing with new fencing is already underway. The scoreboard at Appalachia has been removed, and the new steel beams have been put in place. They've started taking the scoreboard out over at Winnebago High School as of today. So we're making good progress, and we'll continue on that here in the days ahead. Any questions on that?
Joe, I just want to commend you and the operations team. I know we heard some concerns about getting ready for graduation out there and that construction needing to start because of those things you just mentioned. But just wanted to say thank you for making sure that the venue looked the way it needed to look, and we still got what we needed to get done, so we'll be ready for football season when the school year starts. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And a big nod to Parish Construction on that. They were fantastic in helping to prep those areas, so thank you. Okay, our second information item, Ms. McNally.
Good evening. We do have one item of information and then 2 action items to bring before you this evening. The first information item is an update on our recovery support at Appalachia High School. The United States Department of Justice released their Anti-Terrorism and Emergency Assistance Program grant. We know that is the AEAP grant. In their Just Grants portal and the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, we know that as the CJCC, submitted our application for funds. We do expect to know more about the award of the funds after the June CJCC meeting. But to date, these funds have been used to provide 2 valuable recovery supports at Appalachia. The first being 2 full-time student clinicians through Advantage Behavioral Health, and then the second being direct support of our staff through an employee assistance program that is a contract service through Northeast Georgia Medical Center. And I'd like to invite Ms. Zimmer to come and share our action items that are related to this grant.
Good evening. I think we might have some brief updates and information on those 2. I don't know if it's being pulled up. Some of the services provided by both our EAP clinician and then our 2 student clinicians within the school. So we've been able to provide not only individual counseling services, but for staff, some additional resources and supports, whether that be walk-in sessions, some crisis debriefing, extra support around legal matters, some additional professional learning opportunities, things of that nature. And with our students, we've been able to provide not only individual supports as well, but also some group supports, again, that immediate crisis intervention, some additional supports if students are having trouble in class and need a moment to step away, with some additional resources being provided in our wellness den with those 2 clinicians being there. So the superintendent recommends placing the Employee Assistance Program contract with Northeast Georgia Medical Center for a maximum cost of $120,000 on the consent agenda for approval at the June 2nd regular board meeting. This contract renewal provides for continued counseling support for staff members of Appalachia High School. This is the final full year renewal and will be used to transition support services away from the school-based model towards sustainable and ongoing support models. And it's important to note that the contract renewal will cost the district $120,000 with the intent of reimbursing the district for these costs with the Anti-Terrorism and Emergency Assistance Program, the AEAP grant. And similarly, the superintendent recommends placing the contract renewal with Advantage Behavioral Health Systems as presented with the maximum price of $170,000 on the consent agenda for approval at the June 2nd regular board meeting. Similar to the former rationale, this contract renewal ensures the continuation of counseling support for students of Appalachia High School, and this is the final full year renewal and will be used to transition support services away from the school-based model towards sustainable and ongoing support models. This contract renewal will cost the district $170,000 with the intent of reimbursing the district for these costs with the AEP grant. Are there any questions?
Any questions on either one of those? Okay, move both of those to consent, then, thank you.
Okay, and our final action item tonight, we're asking the superintendent to recommend the final closing out of the Barrow Arts and Sciences Academy Phase 3 or Performing Arts Center project. This improvement was completed in 2025. All necessary closeout documents have been received, and all final payments have been made. And so by executing this certificate of the Board of Education, we can receive that final 10% of state capital outlay dollars. And that's it on that item. Any questions?
No, okay, move
All
to
right.
consent.
Thank you. And that concludes the Chief of Staff report.
Okay,
Thank you.
Now we need to move into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent, and to discuss school safety plans prepared pursuant. So can I have a motion to move into executive?
So moved. Ms. Kelly?
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
So, Mr. Griffith, on behalf of the Teacher of the Year Committee, we had some awesome candidates this year, and you just truly stood out to this committee on so many levels, and how you interacted with your kids and the love that you showed them each and every day. So we are honored as a county to recognize you as this year's County Teacher of the Year.
So I know I shared with you guys, but I want Mr. Griffith to hear that he is truly a magical teacher. In fact, he is what I call a magical unicorn teacher, and so I have they do not come around very frequently, and so when we find one, we treasure it. And he just goes above and beyond for his kids every day. He shows up every day with his whole heart, his whole brain, and his whole sense of humor. And I have watched him take a student who was struggling and just bring them back down to the point where they could get back into learning. And we are so honored to have someone like Lee in our school and serving our students. And he has taken on every challenge and risen to it and exceeded expectations in every way. So I know every staff member here, when they get the email in 9 minutes, you will hear some cheering because no one deserves it more than Lee Griffith. So thank you guys for showing that So we are going to have a little celebration for the next few days. So you're going to be looking forward to some fun things coming for the next couple of days. So we're super excited to celebrate him.
My name is Jonik Elam, and I am a standout senior from Barrow Arts and Science Academy. My favorite activity that I've done here will be student council, because it's where I get to not only be with ones that I'm closest with and love, but I can also help out with the community here at BASA and speak for the community as well. An accomplishment I'm most proud of is the legacy and the impact on the culture I have done here at BASA, and as well as the beginning of the AIM program when it was at CFIT. I would definitely say that I am proud of the responsibility and the leadership that I have provided through friends and peers here at BCSS. And I'm proud to say that I can leave here knowing that it will be that same loving and warm school that I have started here. BCSS has prepared me for the future by giving me the independence and the opportunity to develop skills to be able to manage 3 jobs, sports, clubs, work in my community, and as well do classwork for myself. There have been several teachers here at BCSS that has boosted my experience as a high schooler. Every single teacher here has done their own personal and unique impact on me. I can go on and on about them, but 5 teachers I want to definitely shout out is Miss Martinez, Mr. Neiman, Miss Lyles, Miss Argo, and Miss Schreibman.
So I first met Jonik when he was a 9th grade student in my math class, and the great thing about Jonik is that when he started high school, he was already an awesome kid. He was respectful, he was sweet, he was kind, he worked hard, still a typical freshman, but he just came in with such an advantage because he already wanted to be successful in life. Now, over the past 4 years, what I've seen through Jonik is this desire to grow and to be a leader. And so he went from just being a really great kid to making other kids want to be great. And I think that is the biggest thing that I've been impressed with, because no matter what path Jonik chooses in life, I know without a doubt he'll be 100% successful.
My plans after graduation is to pursue what I have been building on for the past 5 years in my construction business and my audio engineering business. I plan on becoming a commercial construction manager and then eventually go to school to become a nurse practitioner. So when I leave here, I want to use these skills in the future to eventually build more on my sound engineering expertise and knowledge of it. I want to eventually go commercial with it and global and go on tours with different artists, travel the world and experience different genres of music instead of what I'm normally used to here. So this right here was the saxophone I got for my 13th birthday from my parents in 8th grade. This has got me through a lot of events, a lot of recognition, and it's one of my favorite pieces. This has gotten me a long way for a beginner saxophonist, and I'll definitely not be the same person without it. A piece of advice I would give my younger self coming into high school would be always stay determined, always stay on topic, never let anybody bring you down, and always smile and give back without expecting anything.
So Jonik, you're amazing, and we all love you here at BCSS, and I wish you the best.
I love to be an artist because I love painting. When I grow up, I want to be a dance so I can help people get better. Enroll the pre-K. Enroll in pre-K.
Jaden Ducelis, I'm a junior and I go to Barrett Arts and Sciences Academy.
I'm Ryan Rudell, I'm an 11th grader that goes to Appalachia High School.
I'm Charlie Rudell and I'm a junior at Appalachia High School.
My name is Jake Berjaco, I go to Winerbarrow High School and I am a junior.
Hi, what's up? My name's Coleman, I'm in 11th grade and I go to Bethlehem Christian Academy.
We're at Camp Twin Lakes or Fort Yargo, and today we're helping out fixing the garden up, pulling weeds, and putting up a new tunnel.
Youth Leadership Barrow is for all the leaders in Barrow County that are in high school. And so far we've done once a month hangouts and we've done so much. We've been to Camp Twin Lakes twice now. We've also been to the capital of Georgia. We've met so many people and networked a lot. We've gone to photography studios and local businesses in Winder, and it's helped you to see what you can do in your own community and also how much you can achieve if you just put your mind to it, and knowing the right people can help you achieve those goals.
One thing I'm going to remember is probably the connections I got throughout this, all the connections with the important people of Barrow County and just seeing what they do, and really I can take that into my careers in the future and really see what it looks like just to serve Barrow County and serve people around me.
Definitely the friendships have been a good part of it, and meeting people from other schools, so in the future we can carry these friendships on with us later in life. And then also the networking side, definitely getting to meet a lot of people, whether they're what you want to do or not, like being able to network, and like maybe in the future if you need a different business for a different reason, being able to connect with those people that you met through this opportunity, and being able to get to know businesses and get to know leaders within your own community that can help you in the future lead in your own community as well.
One takeaway that I have from this program probably is the memories that I've created. All these people here are amazing, and the friendships that I made, and also being able to have a better insight on my future when I had zero clue on what I wanted to do probably is my biggest takeaway.
I'm Juliet Canarella, and I'm a standout senior at Appalachia High School. So at Appalachia, I am a part of varsity cheer. I played the flute in band for 3 years. I have gone to some of the international club meetings. I do Partners Club. I'm going to do Special Olympics this year, and I've helped host a Valentine's Day dance for Special Olympics as well. I would say Miss Bohannon and Miss Rowland have both made very lasting impressions on my life, because I have known both of them for over 10 years. Miss Bohannon was my mom's student teacher when my mom taught English here at Appalachia, so I've known her since I was very little, and Miss Rowland actually babysat me when she was a student at Appalachia. She was a part of Kitty Cats, which was watching all of the teachers' kids in the mornings before they had to walk up to Yargo.
So Julia is a really incredible student, and she's also very unique to our Appalachia family, because she is a student who has really and truly grown up within the walls of this school. So I am actually an Appalachia High School graduate myself, and when I was in high school, I was a student worker in the Kitty Cats program, and Juliet, having both parents that worked at the school at the time, was a student within the Kitty Cats program, which has been really special and neat to see, because you know, a lot of high school students grow up in the school building, but not like literally grow up in the school building like she has. So that has been really neat to see.
I think it's prepared me well for the future, and I also think that my teachers have done a good job. I would say I'm hoping that college is not as hard as high school, for example, waking up at like 6 in the morning every day, but I think that I've definitely got some structure. It's more of an abstract accomplishment than a concrete accomplishment, but I would just say like being able to go to school after everything that has happened. Mental health is a struggle of mine, and I'm sure many of my peers, and so I would just say coming to school and spending time with my friends and completing that up until May 20th, which is when I'm going to graduate. I'm just very proud of myself in that, and I'm proud of all of my friends too. I definitely loved being a part of student council when I was at Appalachia. I think it's a super fun way to get involved. I was student council president for 3 years, and I think it was an important part of my high school time that I was able to work so closely with the student body and also work so closely with different teachers and faculty. After I graduate, I am going to go to Rollins College in Orlando, Florida, and I am going to pursue a career in nursing, and I want to become a nurse practitioner. So it's a small liberal arts school in Orlando, and My whole family has gone there, so my mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, like another aunt. I know so many people that have gone there, and I applied and they gave me a pretty good scholarship, so I'm definitely going there. It's definitely more of a social aspect of high school than an educational aspect of high school, but I would say don't let people walk all over you. Don't let people try to make you feel stupid. Don't let people try to make you feel small. It doesn't matter. You just have to be yourself. And if you are yourself, then you can let them think what they think and you can let them say what they say. But if you yourself are being kind, then I think that that's all you can do.
Juliet, I hope you know how proud all of your teachers are here, those that have taught you and those that have also just been on the journey of watching you grow up, seeing how you have persevered, the things that you have overcome, but also the beautiful young woman that you have blossomed into and how you have always stayed true to yourself and kept the kindest, sweetest heart. We know that there are great things to come for you, and we really hope that you always remember us and come back to visit us and take on the world.
My name is Isaac Holt, and I'm a standout senior at Appalachia High School. I was involved in the barbecue club, football, track. My favorite was definitely football. I enjoyed it because it's the manhood, and you learn a lot when you're in football. So I just really appreciate football. I feel that school has prepared me for the future with cooking, especially in Miss Solankova's class. I mean, it just taught me a lot about cooking in the industry, and especially starting business and like the math behind it, and also the science behind cooking. So there's like a lot of different methods to get started, like a food truck, and build your way up to a restaurant. When we won our first football game, it stands out because we went 0-10 for like 3 straight years. And it was just good that we finally got a program turned around, especially my senior year before I had to go. Miss Harrington, I just knew she would make an impact. We were engaged. She kept us engaged, involved, interested.
One of the things that I've noticed in coaching cheerleading and observing the sideline, I've seen Isaac consistently become a positive role model on the sideline. When the team feels down, if somebody's upset about something, Isaac will always go to them and try to be that positive influence, try to encourage them. So I've definitely seen him become a very positive person on the sidelines.
Being a standout senior is definitely an accomplishment for me that I'm proud of, because that's not something that I expected. I was just kind of just natural. I just stick to myself. I've always been myself. And I didn't know that I would even be a standout senior or a candidate. So that's definitely something that sticks out to me a lot, and it's very important. I feel like that's my greatest achievement. After graduation, I plan on going to a trade school for culinary arts. My mom and my grandma, I've been cooking with them since I was like 6, and I just use their different techniques, and I incorporate it into my cooking. A piece of advice that I would give to any student coming into high school is just don't take your time and granted and enjoy the time while you have it, because you never know what can happen. And also, everybody's not going to be your friend, and that's okay. You can have a small group of friends when you leave. You can have a big group or no friends, but just always be true to yourself and know that you matter and that you're important.
Congratulations, Isaac. I want you to know that I am so proud of you and all of your accomplishments, and I have no doubt that you are going to have a very bright future.
So, Mr. Griffith, on behalf of the Teacher of the Year Committee, we had some awesome candidates this year, and you just truly stood out to this committee on so many levels, and how you interacted with your kids and the love that you showed them each and every day. So we are honored as a county to recognize you as this year's County Teacher of the Year.
So I know I shared with you guys, but I want Mr. Griffith to hear that he is truly a magical teacher. In fact, he is what I call a magical unicorn above and beyond for his kids every day. He shows up every day with his whole heart, his whole brain, and his whole sense of humor. And I have watched him take a student who was struggling and just bring them back down to the point where they could get back into learning. And we are so honored to have someone like Lee in our school and serving our students. And he has taken on every challenge and risen to it and exceeded expectations in every way. So I know every staff member here, when they get the email in 9 minutes, you will hear some cheering because no one deserves it more than Lee Griffith. So thank you guys for showing that for him. So we are going to have a little celebration for the next few days. You're going to be looking forward to some fun things coming for the next couple of days. So we're super excited to celebrate him.
My name is Jonik Elam, and I am a standout senior from Barrow Arts and Science Academy. My favorite activity that I've done here will be student council because it's where I get to not only be with ones that I'm closest with and love, but I can also help out with the community here at BASA and speak for the community as well. An accomplishment I'm most proud of is the legacy and the impact on the culture I have done here at BASA, and as well as the beginning of the AIM program when it was at CFIT. I would definitely say that I am proud of the responsibility and the leadership that I have provided through friends and peers here at BASA, and I'm proud to say that I can leave here knowing that it will be that same loving and warm school that I have started here. BASA has prepared me for the future by giving me the independence and the opportunity to develop skills to be able to manage 3 jobs, sports, clubs, work in my community, and as well do classwork for myself. There have been several teachers here at BASA that has boosted my experience as a high schooler. Every single teacher here has done their own personal and unique impact on me. I can go on and on about them, but 5 teachers I want to definitely shout out is Miss Martinez, Mr. Neiman, Miss Lyles, Miss Argo, and Miss Schreibman.
So I first met Jonik when he was a 9th grade student in my math class, and the great thing about Jonik is that when he started high school, he was already an awesome kid. He was respectful, he was sweet, he was kind, he worked hard, still a typical freshman, but he just came in with such an advantage because he already wanted to be successful in life. Now, over the past 4 years, what I've seen through Jonik is this desire to grow and to be a leader. And so he went from just being a really great kid to making other kids want to be great. And I think that is the biggest thing that I've been impressed with, because no matter what path Jonik chooses in life, I know without a doubt he'll be 100% successful.
My plans after graduation is to pursue what I have been building on for the past 5 years in my construction business and my audio engineering business. I plan on becoming a commercial construction manager and then eventually go to school to become a nurse practitioner. So when I leave here, I want to use these skills in the future to eventually build more on my sound engineering expertise and knowledge of it. I want to eventually go commercial with it and global and go on tours with different artists, travel the world and experience different genres of music instead of what I'm normally used to here. So this right here was the saxophone I got for my 13th birthday from my parents in 8th grade. This has got me through a lot of events, a lot of recognition, and it's one of my favorite pieces. This has gotten me a long way for a beginner saxophonist, and I'll definitely not be the same person without it. A piece of advice I would give my younger self coming into high school would be always stay determined, always stay on topic, never let anybody bring you down, and always smile and give back without expecting anything.
So Jonik, you're amazing, and we all love you here at BASA, and I wish you the best.
I love to be an artist because I love painting. When I grow up, I want to be a dance so I can help people get better. I'm Ronald Pre-K.
Can we get a motion to approve the personnel report as presented?
So moved.
Ms. Kelly?
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, our next meeting is next week, June 2nd, for our regular board meeting, and we have a budget hearing. Thank you.